Hey, I'm here to talk about the most popular Dungeons and Dragons class and maybe some other top contenders and some other Dungeons and Dragons classes that are overlooked. So you may have looked at guides online about the most powerful D&D classes to be, like what's the best class to optimize. But it might surprise you, the most optimal classes aren't the ones that are most chosen necessarily. So a little bit of background on this. I wrote a blog about this about in 2022. I have an updated version on my Substack. You can see my bio. So I'm taking data from a few points. I have D&D Beyond's table, so they have all their character sheets and all their people who have made characters on their website. I've also got another data set from 2022 from Dice Scroller here. So here's D&D Beyond's tables. We also have a table from Dice Scroller. This is their website from 2023. I believe this is from 1.2 million players in 2022. And here's a table of my own table and my own like one-shots and long-term campaigns. So let's go with the least popular first. It's not even found in this book, so that should give you a huge hint. Another one of the least popular classes is the monk, and the other one is the artificer. Well, yes, the artificer makes the most sense being the least popular since it's not included in the player's handbook. It's included in Tasha's. I mean, the narrative concept and the story elements of artificer is really cool, having the more tinkerer adventurer type in your party. The monk is a little bit of an outlier because I've seen the monk sort of have average popularity as well as but yeah, personally I haven't seen a lot of monks at my table, not even much for one shots. I've just had one, I believe. I think personally the monk was really held back in the 2014 rules because their key pool and everything costs so much, but I believe the 2024 rules have really boosted their power. Now, a lot of classes fall in the average popularity ballpark. So the bard's one of them. I have the barbarian, bard, cleric, monk, paladin, ranger, sorcerer, wizard for D&D Beyond. My own table, I usually have the bard, sorcerer, and the warlock. And a lot of classes fall into this area because it's to be expected. Like at the end of the day, Dungeons and Dragons is just trying to be a mechanically fairly balanced role-playing game, so most classes should fall into this category. I'm happy to see that the ranger's up to par. I'm not sure if that's going to keep up with the 2024 rules because they still have their issues, but yeah, some of the newer subclasses in 5th edition, like the Gloomstalker and the Horizon Walker, I think have improved the class. Okay, so the most popular class. Here it is. Good old fighter. It's actually the human fighter, I might add. The fighter has actually been quite popular across editions. It shows up at about 13% of D&D Beyond's choices, which is almost twice the average. So the fighter, I mean, it's quite good. I'm kind of least surprised about it because a lot of heroes in movies, comics, video games tend to be fighters. And I believe the class is actually really good at what 5th edition and 5.5 is really good at, and that's opt-in complexity. Like, for example, if you want to play a champion fighter, just swing a sword or a hammer and hit things, be my guest, you can. If you want to build an Eldritch Knight, a Psy Warrior, or Battle Master with some more complicated maneuvers, and that can maybe push or topple things with arrows and then come in with 2 swords, you can also, opt in for a more complex build if you want. So yeah, it's a great class. It's very welcoming for new players, and it has a very clear role. And some other honorable mentions I want to say are the rogues, the warlock, also the paladin, and even the wizard. But paladin especially has come up in the ranks in a few years. I was going to say on Dice Scroller's numbers, paladin's actually 3rd. I've seen paladins see a massive rise in recent years. I think it's also because of Baldur's Gate. A lot of people talk about paladins I've seen in Baldur's Gate 3. I personally find the paladin is extremely well designed. I think the class has like very clear purpose, strengths and weaknesses. I've actually even seen claims online that they're the best frontliners in the game. Again, sort of like the fighter, the paladin has a good level of complexity if you want to really focus on some spell casting, but if you just simply want to go in there and use your spells to smite things, that's totally a good way to play too. I didn't distinguish it much, but in my personal experience, because I built a table of popularity based on long campaigns and one shot. So there's definitely a discrepancy on what people pick for a one shot versus a campaign. So for example, Druid here, it says it's fairly popular in my table, but I seldomly see Druids be played in a one-shot. Whereas I've had a couple fighters in long-term campaigns. I've had a few fighters in one-shots, a lot of paladins in one-shots, a lot of barbarians in one-shots. The pattern, I think, is some of these classes are very simple to jump into. Like barbarian has a very clear role and purpose. Go in there, rage and hit things, right? The paladin, I think, could be good either way. The druid, I think, suffers in some of the spellcasting classes. Sorcerer sometimes have one shots, but actually rangers come in one shots a lot. But the druid especially is a bit intimidating. They see the sheet and they see all like the wild shape stats, and sometimes as people start reading that, they're like, "Oh, it's too much," and I'll pick ranger or something. So yeah, that's it for me. The most popular is fighter again. Honorable mentions, I think, yeah, rogue, warlock, paladin, and wizard at my table is pretty popular. And barbarians, paladins are picked a lot. So yeah, what do you think? Do you have any classes that are picked a lot at your table? Are these results surprising? Yeah, let me know in the comments, and check out my Substack for more.